You know that feeling, right? You've put in the hours studying English, you get the grammar rules, you can read articles, books even.
Mm-hmm.
But then a native speaker starts talking, maybe really fast, or using words you've never heard, or just, an accent that throws you off.
Yeah. And suddenly, all that work,
Yeah,
it feels like it just disappears.
exactly. The words just blur together, and you're left feeling kind of lost and honestly a bit frustrated.
That gap, that difference between understanding English on the page and understanding it, in real life when it's spoken, it's incredibly common.
Right.
It really is like hitting this invisible wall. And for so many learners, it's probably the biggest hurdle to feeling like truly confident.
Absolutely. And today we're doing a deep dive into how one person tackled that exact challenge. Our source material for this is the really inspiring story of Leela.
Leela. Yeah.
She's a young woman who didn't just face this listening barrier. She systematically took it apart, turned her listening from a struggle into what you could genuinely call a superpower.
Leela's journey is fascinating because, it's not built on expensive courses or some secret hidden talent,
No.
It's practical. It's step by step, using pretty simple tools and just, consistent effort.
And that's really our mission today. To pull out the most valuable insights, the practical nuggets from Leela's experience. We want to understand how she approached her challenges, what strategies actually worked for her.
And sort of give you a shortcut, right, to being well-informed on how you might build your own English listening muscles.
Exactly. So whether you're wrestling with the speed of native speakers or different accents or just the sheer amount of new words you hear.
Or even just that anxious feeling when you have to listen. Leela's story, it really offers some powerful aha moments and ideas you can actually use maybe right away.
Okay, so let's jump in. Where did Leela start? The source paints a picture. She's 24, bright, curious, big dreams of travel, international work. But she'd done all the usual things: textbooks, vocab lists, online classes focusing on grammar, reading.
And those things had helped her.
Yeah.
That's important context. She wasn't starting from absolute zero in English.
Right.
She had a solid foundation, reading, writing.
Yeah.
She was specifically stuck on listening, especially to native speakers, just talking naturally.
Yeah, and her problems were very specific things I think many listeners will probably recognize. Native speakers just felt way too fast.
Like a blur of sound.
Yeah, couldn't pick out the individual words. And that lack of understanding, naturally, it made her feel nervous, which just creates this awful cycle, right? Makes it even harder to listen.
Definitely. And she also just didn't know how to practice effectively, every single day.
Yeah.
How do you even do that?
It's that overwhelming feeling, isn't it? Where the sounds are just noise. You know the words if you see them written down, but you can't hear them when they're spoken quickly or kind of mashed together.
Exactly.
So the turning point, it's described quite vividly. A rainy evening, she's sitting with her cat, Milo, and she just has this moment of clarity. Just reading books isn't going to cut it. She needs a real way to learn listening. She was tired of feeling embarrassed, disappointed.
She wanted to actually enjoy things like movies.
Right, and understand people, feel confident using English out in the world.
That moment,
Yeah.
that decision is so powerful. She shifts from just having a problem.
She's actively deciding to solve it.
Yes. And the source says she took this feeling and made it really concrete. She created my English listening mission.
And she actually wrote it down. Didn't just think it. Listed the problems: speed, not catching words, nervousness, no daily practice plan.
And right next to those, the goals.
Enjoy movies, understand native speakers, feel confident. And framing it as a mission, that's highlighted as her very first, small win.
It absolutely is,
Hmm.
because it reframes the whole thing. It's not a personal failing anymore. It's a project.
Hmm.
It gives her direction, purpose. It changes the mindset from, frustration to, okay, let's do this. That act of defining the mission is really where her journey kicks off.
Okay, mission defined. So what was the first actual strategy, the first breakthrough after setting that intention?
Well, it was surprisingly simple, actually. She found a book series called English Sue Stories.
Oh, okay.
Basic stories, designed for learners, but the crucial part, they came with audio. Simple text, interesting enough stories, and that audio component she really needed.
And that first listen.
Yeah.
It wasn't exactly an instant success, right? Played the audio, understood maybe, 30%.
Yeah, about 30%. And that's a point where, let's be honest, a lot of people would just feel defeated. Maybe give up.
Definitely. This is too hard.
But the source really emphasizes her reaction. She didn't get discouraged. Instead, she leaned into a strategy that became like a cornerstone for her. Repetition.
Okay, repetition. But just listening to the same thing over and over, how does that actually help you understand new stuff later? What's the insight there for listeners?
That's the key. It's not about memorizing that specific story. It's about training your ear and your brain to work together. By hearing the same words spoken repeatedly, your brain starts mapping the sounds you're hearing to the words you already know from reading. It helps you figure out where one word ends, the next begins. How sounds link up naturally in speech.
It's like building muscle memory, but for your ears, like ear training.
Exactly. The source details her process.
Hmm.
She listened again. Understanding goes up to 40%. Listened again, almost 60%. She stuck with that one story for a whole week, just listening every day.
And by day 7, she could hear almost every word. The source even says she could hear the sentences in her head without the audio playing. That's a massive jump from 30%.
It really is. And the feeling it captures is so important. I'm not just studying, I'm listening, I'm learning with joy.
That's nice.
It wasn't a test she was failing anymore. It was a process she was engaging with and succeeding at. That built her confidence, Trust in herself. Trust that she could learn this way.
So, starting small, simple stories, embracing repetition, that was the crucial first step. Okay, so once she had that foundation, saw it was working, how did she expand, bring it more into her everyday life?
But that was her next question, wasn't it? How can I practice with something new every day? Something that's not just these basic learner stories.
Right.
And that led her to explore other types of English content.
And music popped up as a big one. Found a video called Learn English with songs, simple pop song, catchy, lyrics on the screen.
Music is brilliant for listening practice. It's got rhythm, melody helps things stick in your head,
True.
and choruses repeat. So you get built-in repetition without even trying. Plus, like the source says, music really stays in your brain. It's got that emotional hook.
So she made it a habit. Her Leela's English listening plan, 1 song a day, read the lyrics, sing along, even made her own playlist, English Vibes, with different artists.
Which is smart, gets you used to different voices, different styles.
And this ties into another key idea, right? This surrounding yourself with English, but without it feeling like homework.
Exactly. It wasn't a chore anymore. It was becoming part of her life. Little things like changing her phone language to English. Just constant low-level exposure.
And YouTube.
Yeah.
Critically, not just learn English channels, but real content.
Yeah, authentic stuff. Interviews with people she liked, travel vlogs of places she dreamed of visiting, cooking shows, even funny cat videos, apparently.
Whatever works.
The key was her method. Watch first with subtitles to get the gist, then rewatch the same video with the subtitles off, and then eventually just listen to the audio.
That's clever. So you're not just relying on the subtitles forever. You use them as a scaffold first.
Exactly.
Then take them away to make your ears do the heavy lifting, but on something you're already a bit familiar with.
Precisely. It's scaffolding your listening. Use the visual text for support, then remove it once your ear starts recognizing the patterns. And she combined this with listening while doing other things, cooking, cleaning, walking,
Multitasking with English audio.
putting on a podcast or a video while doing something routine, making use of that dead time.
That anecdote about the London travel vlog really stands out. Hard at first, maybe the accent was tricky, speed, but repeating it subtitles on, then off, then just audio, she got to that moment, that feeling of, wow, I actually understand her.
That moment is huge. Recognizing you understand real-world, authentic content. Incredibly validating. And then came that fascinating side effect.
She started thinking in English.
Yeah. Sees a flower, and the word flower just pops into her head. Not the word in her native language first.
That's a massive sign, isn't it? That English is moving deeper beyond just translating in your head. It's becoming part of your actual thought process.
Absolutely. And then that really powerful moment on the bus, overhearing tourists talking.
And understanding every single word.
Wow. That quiet, everyday moment becomes proof. Proof that all that consistent practice was actually paying off in these random real-world ways. It wasn't just about study. It was about understanding the world unfolding around her.
And her reflection there is so key. I don't need to be perfect. I just need to keep listening.
That insight, consistency over perfection. Understanding the gist over 100% accuracy that feels like another massive turning point.
So by this stage, her takeaways were pretty solid. Repetition works wonders. Music makes it fun. English is literally everywhere if you look for it.
And the big one, just keep going.
Yeah.
Even if you don't get everything right away, persistence is key.
Those lessons built the confidence and I guess the skill, too, for what's often the scariest step.
Moving from listening to stuff to listening to people, real-time conversation.
Yeah, that leap is where, the rubber really meets the road. For Leela, it meant finding a language partner, Sarah from Canada, and actually meeting her.
And the source captures that initial fear perfectly. All those familiar worries creeping back in.
But if I say it wrong, what if she doesn't understand me? What if I don't understand her? Yeah.
But crucially, she didn't let that fear stop her. She pushed through it by remembering how far she'd come.
Right. Recalling the small wins, the stories, the songs, the videos, even understanding those tourists. Drawing strength from the progress she'd already banked.
And the conversation itself, it wasn't perfect. And that's okay. She spoke slowly. She probably made mistakes.
But they communicated, they connected, and often that connection is the real measure of success, isn't it? Not perfect grammar.
Absolutely. But the nervousness didn't just evaporate. The source mentions that strange feeling, afterwards still anxious, knowing she hadn't caught every single word, maybe smiling and nodding sometimes.
You've all done that.
Totally. And this experience led her to ask a really crucial question, one every language learner grapples with. Do I need to understand 100% to be good at listening?
And the answer she found is just so liberating.
Isn't it? You don't need to understand every word. You only need to catch the meaning. Focus on the message, not the details.
That's a total game changer. It shifts the goal completely. You're not aiming for perfect linguistic analysis.
You're aiming for communication, understanding the gist. It lets you relax, focus on the main idea, which paradoxically makes you understand more because you're less anxious.
Armed with that insight, she took another big step, joining a local English meetup group. People from all over.
That kind of environment is gold. It's a safe space. Mistakes are expected, even welcome sometimes. Everyone's there with the same goal. Plus, Hearing all those different accents and fluency levels is amazing ear training in itself.
And she shared something personal, talked about listening to nature, how that connected her to English, and it resonated with the group. She wasn't just practicing words, she was using English to share who she was.
Which highlights that English isn't just rules and vocabulary. It's a tool for expression, for connection, on a human level, sharing ideas, feelings, dreams. That's the real magic of language.
She summed up this phase with her Leela's listening truths.
Yeah. Don't need 100%. Okay to ask, say again. Me, okay not to be perfect. And listening is about connection.
And these truths tie directly into building courage. Because it takes guts, right? To speak up, admit you missed something, keep trying when it's hard. Her listening practice was building that inner resilience.
Definitely. And it was her language partner, Sarah, who nudged her towards the next level.
Podcasts.
Podcasts. Fantastic resource. Authentic, unscripted, often fast English on every topic imaginable. It's a major step up towards real-world speed and style.
So she enters what the source calls the fast lane. Starts with one called Everyday English Stories.
And her first reaction, pretty typical. Too fast, too real, felt like a race.
Been there.
Right. It's a common shock moving from learner materials to authentic speech.
But true to form, she didn't back down. Developed specific strategies for speed. Pause. Deep breath. Focus only on keywords at first. Listen multiple times.
Yeah, that multi-pass listening idea. Listen once just for the main idea, reduce the pressure, then listen again, trying to catch more details. Your brain fills in more gaps each time as it gets familiar.
She called it her gym for your ears.
Great analogy. Consistent, challenging workouts build strength.
And the results started showing up again in everyday life. Understanding the radio in a taxi, actually getting the jokes in English TV shows?
Even dreaming in English.
Wow. Small things, but clear signs her brain was processing English more automatically.
Exactly. It's moving from conscious, effortful processing to something more intuitive. English isn't just a skill she's doing. It's becoming part of how she perceives things.
And then the stakes got really high. A job opportunity at her company's main office required an interview.
All in English. Uh-oh.
Yeah. Practice suddenly meets real pressure.
This is where her practice got super focused. She started listening specifically to interview podcasts, watching videos about common questions, tailoring her listening to that specific high-stakes situation.
And she did something that takes real guts. Recorded herself speaking her answers and listened back.
Oh, the dreaded self-recording playback. It takes courage. Listening to your own voice, your accent, mistakes, pauses. It's easy to just cringe.
Totally.
But the force says she pushed through that discomfort. And she started hearing other things, too. Strength in her voice, clarity, actual progress.
And her mantra during that prep was so good. Don't aim to be perfect. Aim to be prepared and calm.
That's brilliant. It shifts the focus from impossible perfection to achievable readiness. It's about managing the anxiety through preparation, using listening not just to understand others, but to refine her own communication.
The interview itself sounds like it was a real culmination. She understood the questions, answered calmly, didn't freeze.
And she even cleverly worked her listening journey into her answers, highlighted it as a strength, while also being honest that it was a challenge she'd actively overcome, showed self-awareness, dedication.
And that realization she had after the interview. Wow, listening helped me hear the world. Now it's helping the world hear me.
Boom. Her listening superpower directly enabled her voice, her ideas, to be heard professionally.
That interview wasn't just about the job. It was like tangible proof of the real-world value of all of that dedicated listening practice and the courage it built.
Yeah, absolutely. And that success really propelled her, didn't it, to the next level, an even bigger stage. The Green City Exchange Program invitation,
Yeah.
huge excitement, but also, that uh, understandable fear. A whole new city, fast British English, loads of different accents.
So her preparation got specific again,
Hmm.
focused on travel listening, airport announcements, practicing listening to British accents on videos, travel vlogs.
And drilling those key travel phrases. Where is gate B12? I have a connecting flight.
Yeah.
And the all-important.
Could you repeat that, please?
Yes. Essential toolkit. She was proactively tuning her ears before she even got there, building confidence in advance.
And the first test came right away, at the airport. Understanding a delayed flight announcement despite the speed, the background noise, the echo.
And that little moment of comprehension, just thinking, got it. That must have felt amazing. Proof that her practice worked under pressure in a real slightly chaotic place.
She used the flight time well, too. More travel podcasts, an English movie, even jotting down her Leela's travel listening tips.
Like actively tuning into airport English, repeating phrases mentally, using context clues to guess meaning, and reminding herself not to panic. Practical, in-the-moment stuff.
It reinforces that listening isn't passive, is it? It's active engagement, using clues, managing your own head.
Totally. So she arrives in London, surrounded by all this fast English, different accents, but feeling ready. And that readiness, built through all that effort, that's the key.
Confidence isn't about not being scared. It's about having the tools and the practice to face it anyway.
Well said. She built that.
And that moment at baggage claim is just lovely. Full circle. She understands the carousel number, helps someone else who's confused.
And gets that spontaneous compliment. Your English is really good.
From struggling to understand simple stuff to confidently navigating an airport, helping someone, and getting positive feedback, that's the transformation right there.
Beautiful.
During the program itself, she still didn't understand every single word, especially with regional accents, but she understood enough.
And she wasn't afraid to use her superpower phrase.
Could you say that again?
And the source notes people were kind when she asked. It shows native speakers are often happy to help. Asking for clarification isn't failure, it's engagement.
There's that lovely bit in Hyde Park where someone comments that she really listens.
Suggests her practice wasn't just about language, but about developing real attentiveness. Listening became a way of being present with people.
Her voice message reflecting on it all, going from those slow stories to actually living the story in London. Feeling the magic.
She truly embodied it. Her skill wasn't just abstract, it unlocked real experiences, real connections.
And the big takeaway from London wasn't perfection, it was confidence. Confidence not from understanding everything, but from no longer fearing misunderstanding. Trusting herself, the process, her ears.
That trust is the superpower. The ability to walk into a situation knowing you might miss things, but you've got the tools and the courage to handle it.
Listening is not just a skill, it's a superpower. And now, it's mine. That just sums it up perfectly.
It's such a powerful statement of ownership. From feeling controlled by the difficulty to feeling empowered by her mastery.
So after London, feeling this confidence, this superpower, she felt this urge to share, right?
Yeah, it's a natural next step. When you figure out how to overcome a big challenge, you want to help others who are still stuck where you were.
And the idea for her own podcast, Slow English with Leela, came about. Quiet evening, Milo the cat nearby again.
Like Milo was the muse. She decided to become the exact resource she wished she had had at the beginning. A clear, kind, understandable voice for learners.
Her first episode sounds like it was really authentic. Spoke slowly, clearly, shared her own story, accepted she might make mistakes, but focused on connecting.
That authenticity is crucial. Sharing the struggles makes you relatable. especially to learners often terrified of imperfection.
And the real turning point for the podcast was getting an email from a listener. Brazil, right?
Yeah. Your podcast helped me. You gave me hope. That one message just validated everything, showed her the direct human impact.
So she committed. New episode every Sunday, consistently providing that resource, sharing her hard-won tips.
Like, listen for the message, not every word. Use subtitles as a tool, then remove them. Shadowing.
Ah, yeah, shadowing where you repeat immediately after the speaker. Great practice.
Fantastic for ear training and pronunciation. And her big message: be patient with yourself.
She expanded the content too, kids' stories, dialogues, idioms, and listeners described her voice as calm, clear, kind.
She created a listening space that felt safe,
Yeah.
supportive, and actually worked. Embodied that empathy.
And the reach was amazing. Comments from Japan, Turkey, Morocco, Vietnam, all over. Imagining them listening in their homes.
Shows how universal this challenge is, and how her relatable approach just clicked with people everywhere.
Getting that voice message from Sam in Egypt, I like your stories, I understand you, thank you. That direct feeling of, I'm helping.
Those individual connections are so motivating. Proof that her slow English idea was really making a difference.
And looking back at her old notebook, that first frustrated question, how to improve listening, she added new points.
Distilling her whole journey. Begin small, stay curious, listen every day. Speak kindly to yourself too. Share your story.
And then that incredibly powerful sixth point she added.
6. Become the voice you once needed.
Chills, that's the essence of it, isn't it? She didn't just solve her problem, she turned around and offered that solution to others, exactly how she wished someone had done for her.
It's profound.
Her final thought on the podcast's reach from her tiny room to the world, it's genuinely inspiring.
A real testament to how focusing on a need with authenticity and consistency can have this huge, unexpected impact.
And her message to listeners, you can do this. You can learn, love English, listen your way there, and maybe tell your story too. It's a direct invitation.
Yeah, it shifts it from just admiring her story to seeing it as a potential path for you, the listener.
And Leela's journey kept unfolding. Next stage. Teaching, inspiring people face to face.
Right, the invitation from her old tutor, Miss Harper, to guest teach. A huge full circle moment, returning to where she struggled, but now as the guide.
And her approach was so unique, totally aligned with her experience. Teaching listening. Itself, attention, patience, love for the language, not just grammar points about listening.
That's a key distinction. Not teaching about listening, but how to listen. Training the mind, the heart, not just the ears.
She shared her own stories, cartoons, shadowing, repeating podcast lines, even brought in pages from her actual notebook showing her process.
So relatable. Sharing the vulnerability, the concrete tools, makes it accessible. The notebook pages are like tangible proof.
And she gave them that powerful guiding idea. Turn what you hear into what you live.
Connecting listening to actually experiencing the world through English elevates it from just a passive skill to an active way of being.
She tackled their fears directly, like, what if I don't understand anything? Her answers were so empathetic.
Yeah, your ears are learning. Be kind to yourself. Trust your ears. Every learner needs to hear that stuff repeatedly. Normalizes the struggle, encourages self-compassion.
And connecting the fear of speaking back to listening. Do you listen to yourself kindly? Suggesting they record themselves not to criticize, but to find strength, accept flaws.
Linking listening inward to speaking outward. Practicing self-kindness in listening builds confidence for speaking without that crushing fear.
The class activities sound great too. Stories at different speeds, writing, laughing, cheering small wins, making practice fun.
Learning sticks so much better when it's enjoyable and low stakes. Creates that positive vibe.
And that analogy, watering a plant for slow growth, perfect for language learning patience.
Manages expectations. Growth isn't always dramatic day to day, but consistent care works over time.
She became a regular teacher, the class grew in joy, and students started their own listening projects. Podcasts like English on My Bike, A Bedtime Story 1.
That's the ultimate teaching success, right?
Yeah.
Inspiring learners to take ownership, become creators, lead their own journeys. Learners becoming leaders.
Her role shifted, but she was still listening to their questions, efforts, dreams.
Listening remained her core connection, now used for mentoring.
And getting that blue notebook from them, inscribed, "For Leela, the girl who listened her way to courage."
Just beautiful. A symbol of her impact, how her personal journey resonated so deeply.
Her own reflection in that notebook, teaching others to listen, has taught me to hear my own strength.
Shows that reciprocal thing in teaching. Helping others listen deepened her own self-awareness and resilience.
And connecting back to nature through listening, hearing birds, wind, brings it back to that quiet start with Milo. Listening became a way to connect deeply with the whole world.
Yeah, her skill really blossomed into a kind of mindfulness, a deeper way of engaging with life.
From local teaching to global inspiration, the invitation to Kyoto, Japan, language exchange program.
Wow. Recognition of her unique approach, inviting her to share it across cultures.
Arriving in Kyoto, navigating new sounds, ancient versus modern, her ears adapting again.
Even with her skills, new places mean fresh listening. Language learning is always adapting.
Staying with a host family, seeing shy Yumi practicing with songs, Leela's gentle insight. Songs are a good start. She already has a listener's heart.
Recognizing that quiet effort, seeing the potential.
Meeting students from all over at the Language Center, hearing that same challenge. Listening felt foreign. Speed, slang, accents.
Reinforced how universal the struggle is. Her experience wasn't isolated, it was shared.
And her teaching in Kyoto hammered her core idea. Listen for rhythm, tone, connection through sound, not every single word.
Reaffirming listening as empathy, connection, not just data decoding.
Using those short story cards, having students close eyes, listen just for feeling or image.
Bypassing the translation pressure, encouraging emotional connection through sound alone. And hearing them say they saw scenes felt real joy, not just words. Powerful validation.
This is listening. Not for grammar, but for life. Beautiful summary of that deeper purpose.
Elevates listening from academic skill to accessing the richness of human experience.
Playing with sounds, acting out radio bits, sharing songs, making it active, joyful, collaborative in Kyoto too.
Dynamic learning reduces anxiety, lets people engage playfully.
And observing that speaking improved naturally when they listened without fear. Confidence grew, accents became musical.
Highlights that powerful link. Less stressful listening focused on connection frees up mental space and builds confidence for speaking.
The tea ceremony insight, listening in silence, meaning beyond words, language as rhythm, emotion, presence.
Profound moment. Listening is universal attention, even in silence.
Giving them listening diaries. Today, I listened to the world. It spoke without shouting.
Gentle nudge for mindful listening in everyday life. Hearing the world's quiet language.
And Yumi's gift, the recorder, with her brave message. Leela's emotional reaction.
Another example of Leela's courage inspiring courage in others. Breaking through shyness.
The realization flying home. Same truth everywhere. Listen with hearts, understand hearts, not just words.
The ultimate universal lesson. Listening is fundamentally about human connection.
And all this whole arc, sparked the idea for the book.
Yeah, quiet morning, revisiting notes, memories, voices. Not a textbook, but her story.
A love letter to your ears. What a wonderful frame for learning to listen.
Reframes your own body as this key tool, something to treat with care.
The Listening Book. A Journey in English. Chapters on fear, joy, mini stories from her and students.
Combining personal narrative with practical application. Relatable and useful.
Included audio files, slow, natural, whispered, try this activities, QR codes to real voices.
Making it interactive, multi-sensory, bringing her methods to life off the page.
Reaching the end, listening to silence for inspiration, writing that closing line. If you feel lost in English, start with the sound of your breath. You are already listening. Now listen forward.
Beautiful anchor. Grounds you in your present ability, listening to breath, then gently urges you forward, applying it to language to your journey.
The book online, free, massive impact, 42 countries, tons of messages.
Echoed the podcast's reach, amplified her message, showed how widely it resonated.
And then, the ultimate full circle. Invited to speak at a global conference on learning through listening. Standing there, the girl who couldn't understand, now teaching thousands.
The most profound validation, she embodied her topic.
Started with the book's line, and the audience listened. Because, as the source says, true listening is rare and powerful.
In our noisy world, someone teaching genuine listening, that's deeply valuable.
And that interaction with the little girl afterwards with her notebook. Dear English, I will listen to you every day because Leela said you are kind.
Oh, wow. That just captures the impact, the core message of kindness running through it all. It's about approaching the language and yourself with kindness.
Leela's final thought. English is kind, especially when we listen with love. And that powerful conclusion from the source. Listening became the language of possibility.
Ties it all up. Listening with kindness, focusing on connection, it opens up everything. Travel, work, connection, teaching, sharing your own story.
So, boiling down Leela's incredible journey, what are the most powerful, actionable takeaways for you listening right now?
Okay, first, start small, be consistent. Like Leela's first story, simple audio, repeat it. Second, integrate listening into stuff you actually enjoy, music, videos on hobbies.
Yeah.
Makes it less of a chore.
Yep.
Third, surround yourself with English where you can. Even small things like tone settings help. Fourth, use strategies, subtitles on and off. Try shadowing. Fifth, and this is huge, focus on the message, the meaning, the feeling. Not 100% of every word. It's okay to miss stuff.
Absolutely.
Sixth, don't fear mistakes listening or speaking. Be kind to yourself. Seventh, trust your ears. They are capable. They are learning, even when it feels slow.
And remember how her listening wasn't just passive, right? It actively built her confidence. It was the foundation for speaking up, connecting, getting the job, traveling, sharing her story.
Her journey is such a powerful blueprint. It shows this transformation is absolutely possible for anyone willing to put in that consistent, kind effort.
So the final thought for you. How can you start listening today? Not just trying to crack the code of the sounds, but listening for the connection, the stories, the possibility inside the language.
Find that one song, that short video, that simple story that genuinely interests you. Start right there. Listen a few times. Be patient. And just listen forward.
That feels like the perfect place to end. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Leela's truly remarkable journey.